There's probably few candidates for 2016 that are more interesting than Rand Paul, just in the way he is now conducting his search in unusual places. He was at Berkeley. Now, he's a libertarian, so there's some crossover here. He was talking about one of his favorite subjects, which is the over-surveillance as practiced by sort of the intelligence community, in particular the NSA. Here's part of what he said.
I find it ironic that the first African-American president has, without compunction, allowed this vast exercise of raw power by the NSA. Certainly, J. Edgar Hoover's illegal spying on Martin Luther King and others in the civil rights movement should give us all pause.
I think part of why Rand Paul in particular is so popular with young people is that he's slightly unpredictable in terms of where he stands on issues. What do you think accounts for it?
Well, I think it's deeper than that. I think Rand Paul is actually raising profound questions that go right at the heart of the American establishment. He's saying you built this huge national security apparatus. You've now apparently had the CIA spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee. This is crazy. And I think he can expand it over the next year to include the IRS and a whole range of other federal agencies. In Heritage, for example, has an entire project now on criminalizing the law, where if you get in a fight with a bureaucrat, the bureaucrat can put you in jail. And I think Rand Paul's touching on a nerve here, which every conservative ought to take seriously. This is not an automatic, boy, he's against national security. This is, if you don't think it's nuts for the Central Intelligence Agency to be spying on the Senate Intelligence Committee, then you're totally out of touch with reality.
So he didn't just focus on the Congress, which I think the spying on Congress. He took direct aim at the NSA. And I would remind Newt that who helped draft all these laws that created an expansionary power? Republican leaders in the Senate and the House. And I think what was fascinating about his speech is how critical he was of the Republican Party for not reaching out, for not taking certain steps, for being a party that's too looking inside and not reaching out to different groups. So I think he has a very part of his power with young people is that he's willing to take on not Democrats but Republicans.
So here's a guy who has gotten Neera Tanden and Newt Gingrich in agreement that he's interesting and provocative. And so I definitely think Rand Paul gets the most interesting Republican on the scene prize for the past year. And if anyone thought he was just Ron Paul too, that's clearly not the case. He's carving out his own identity. It's distinctive. Sometimes he takes on Republicans. Sometimes he takes on Democrats. He works with Eric Holder on issues of prison sentencing reform. I mean, this is an interesting guy.
After definitely, he filed suit?
Yeah, definitely
a
guy to watch. And I think clearly a factor in 2016.
Yeah. Would you vote for him? We know Neera wouldn't. Would you vote for Rand Paul? Can you see Rand Paul as president?
If my choice was Rand Paul or Hillary Clinton, in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah, that's an easy answer. But
you think you'd make primary is a tougher question for you.
But that's where you come down to. I mean, if you say, would I vote for him?
Right.
Compared to who?
So Jeb Bush versus
Joe
Rand Paul.
Biden, for example? In a heartbeat.
Jeb Bush versus Rand Paul in a primary.
I think it's a very interesting primary. And I'm not going to pick choices in the primary. But I will say Rand Paul has been the most consistently principled person talking about issues. And yeah, Neera's right. He takes on Republicans. So what? That's good for America. I'd love to see Hillary take on Democrats with the same courage that Rand Paul is taking on Republicans.